Hey guys, Steph here. I'm sorry it's been so long. My 2023 has been pretty exciting. I won't bore you with the details, but it's included 4 deaths, some uh, major medical diagnoses, inheritance, and my work going back to full time. Before I was only kind of half time. And so I have been busier than a cat on a tin roof. The good news is now that it's June the 23rd, I have knee surgery for a partial meniscus repair, and I'll actually be up and walking around. So I will be actually off work 6 weeks and able to film some videos. And my plan is to film some and hopefully film a backlog so I can put them up through July and August and have some content for y'all, including a couple of art projects, a piece of art for my wife, a piece of art for me, and a few other things. We might even get playing with some Prit. It's been a year. Frit. But what I've got for you today is a handheld shaky cam a la Blair Witch um, recording of the glass studio I work out of, which is nothing more than a bay in my garage. Excuse me, crunchy throat. So before I get into that, I have 2 things I want to share with you. Or 2 things I'm adding to my shop that I want to share to you. Share to you. I'm not even re-recording this. Share with you. First is I'm doing kind of a pick mix of dots. Like, this is a piece of Murini. And this is a piece of Tabitha's Vitrograph. This is a bubble dot. Pretty much I've got a whole pile in here of dots, including bubbles, dots, whatever you want to call them, from made of cane and Murini and Vitrograph from people like the Murini Shop, Wilderness Glass, Dan Haviland, and Tabitha. Oh, and the Murini Man. That I make this jar because I have another jar just like it at Soul Flags, where I volunteer in Oregon City, and we call it the ASMR jar of dots, or fruit balls. It is for kids and adults and students to take out of and work with for their projects. I keep one here at home. All my scrap glass that I'm not using immediately, or really, really tiny shards that aren't very useful, get cut up and put in this colander. As you can see, I took a page from Equinox Glass and glued all it down with Elmer's glue. But the colander's full of glass, and I put it in my kiln. Right now it's running 2 shells worth. So this mix will change. It's got a lot of neat things, but I always keep a photograph of the most current mix on it, and I'm going to offer it up on my Etsy shop in case you want just sort of a random pick mix that includes a little bit of fun stuff. So if you're interested in that, the link will be in the link to my shop will be in the Etsy or the video description below. It's on Etsy. Second thing I'm going to offer in my shop is branches. They're going to come as a set of 3. This is the big one, this is the medium one, and then there's this non-forked small one. They're going to come in a variety of colors. I haven't quite figured out the price. They work really nicely with the blossoms, especially the pink ones if you're looking for sort of a cherry blossom motif. And speaking of blossoms, I'm looking for some new colors to come in. I'd like to make some red poppies. I'd like to do some blacks, some whites, and a couple other colors. There's a color you'd like to see, because I've done a couple custom orders so far. There's a color you'd like to see, please let me know. Shop stuff aside, my studio tour starts right over here in a corner you can't see yet, that I started cleaning out a couple of weeks ago. Works along the back wall here to this wonderful glass rack of mine. And since I don't say it in the video when I do it, if you're curious about the plans for this, a former friend made them for me, both racks for me, this full sheet and half sheet. And he was kind enough to give me the plans for them. He's a mechanical engineer, so they're really sturdy plans. These are going nowhere. He let me help him build this top one. So I kind of know how they go together. I have 2 to build myself, but I have the plans if anybody wants to have them. They're just a 1-page sheet of like how it's laid out so you'd know what to cut. But if you do, drop a note below and we'll work something out so I can get you that PDF. But anyway, it moves past the glass rack and it explains the sort of glass I have all the way down this wall and then back across the chaos that I haven't gotten cleared on that side. So if you hold tight for just a sec, you can see my shop. Okay, so this happens to be the studio that I work out of. It is a 1968 single-car bay garage. Well, this is a 4-car garage, but this bay has been, as you can see, walled off. And so it is 12 by 24. And as you see by the tools on the back, was my grandmother's workshop. In fact, if I come over here, we put a shelf in the way and therefore duct tape to fix the window. Classy folks. It says Nani's Workshop. Next to it was Bapa's honeydew list. It was my grandparents. But when I was a kid, this was my dad's mechanic shop, and then it became my grandmother's wood shop. Now it's my glass studio. I store my Tecta over here because I buy it in 24 by 48 sheets. It's the only place it fits because you'll see my glass racks and they're not big enough. In the back, you see all the tools because this is still a working shop. And then down below, we have more things, drawers that are labeled. That vanity is actually a nightlight display. On the back of it are wall outlets for plugging nightlights in, and the inside of the display has a cable so I can plug it into a wall outlet. This silly looking thing for holding screws and all of that holds an assortment of dots. I'm working on filling it up. But because I'm in the process of cleaning, you have things like tea strainers for sifting, gum arabic, some water jet cut sugar skull heads, some splats from Glasshoppa's video that I need to put magnets on, various other things. These are photographing props for my Etsy, rigidizer for silk mat for my Vitrograph kiln, my cousin's current project, including the mushrooms that she needs to cut, and various things, scrap glass, some Tabitha's confetti, etc. In the corner over here, stacked high with molds, is my Troublematic kiln. This is a 16-inch Paragon benchtop. It fires too hot, it fires too picky, and I never get to show this on lives because it's kind of difficult, but when you look in it, it is absolutely destroyed. I, unfortunately, am quite rough on my things. As a result, you can see where I lean on it here. You can't see as easily, but there's an actual, half-inch dent from where my elbow will sometimes sit when I'm working within the kiln. It is a pretty well-loved kiln. Frequently used things sit on it, including the palette knife I use to scrape all my kiln wash off on. It sits up on cinder blocks, and I store the stands in front of it because, except for my wife and I, there is nobody in the shop to ruin things. Those are all in the back. You can't really see well, but they're all ruined cast iron heart molds because I used a lot of them in the start. And that right there is my tiny collection of System 96. This is my piece de resistance. A former friend of mine made me both these glass racks, and they're absolutely stunning. They are 3/4 inch and 1/2 inch plywood, and I store all of my glass. Both of them are the same. Opals, transparents, blacks, whites, clears, specialty toppers. Hello, collage glass. Bunk. Because it's me. More tops. Streakies and special productions. And again, the same down below. I even have glass that I have no idea what I'm going to do with, like a full sheet of this stuff that's going to be nearly impossible to cut. So, stuff stacked on top that I haven't used. This is the bottom for my new Vitrograph kiln. Various bits and bobs, 2 heart molds. I haven't cleaned. And then we come to where I stack everything that is too small to fit comfortably in a half sheet. These are all less than 10 by 10s because this was a little $35 jobby off Amazon. Let me move that out of the way. It is actually a paper rack with shelves like this that I just assembled, and it's cute and it's easy, but it holds my stuff. My actual 10 by 10s fit in this little Rubbermaid container, and man, I have a lot. This is all some of the fancy stuff I've bought that I've still never found a use for. Like this is one of my favorites. Tell me, what would you do with this particular piece? That's Adventuring Blue on French Vanilla, and I love it to pieces. And this is where the organization for my studio ends. So unfortunately, you are going to have to get a vision of the chaos monster that is Steph for the rest of the studio. Pardon the steps, I had to squeeze past my chair. So this is what the rest of my shop looks like on a good day. See how it's all piled high. Thankfully in front it is not as full. Don't ask how old that juice is. That is a giant roll of 1mm fiber paper that I've had for years. But some scrap glass over here, Ziploc baggies for when I hold class, sidewalk chalk for slumping, some projects I never finished, rock tumbler, new molds I just got that I haven't prepped yet, and my ultrasonic cleaner, which didn't work nearly as well as I thought it would be. I'm kind of disappointed. Finished projects, and then this is my mold selection, which is pretty damn impressive for me. I need a better system. I need more shelving. I need something because this is not the way to work. I've seen a lot of people use baking racks, and I think what I'm going to do is pull all the rackage and then clean this out, move this particular shop vac, because this R2D2 doesn't work, and put a big rack in there. This right here is my new Vitrograph kiln. As I kick things, I still haven't taken it out of the thing, but it is a Paragon Caldera, and I am super excited. See here, stands from Look Ma No Stand. But yeah, I've got a pile of stands. And now we're standing at the entrance to my studio, which looks like a bomb went off in it. Over here in the corner, we have a fridge that I'm going to get rid of, and that's going to be where my Vitrograph stand goes. This is a pile of recycling that needs to take care of, and underneath there somewhere, I think in this corner, you can just see, is a ring saw. But I'm not real sure. Yeah, no, it's a ring saw. It's right there. It needs to be found. On the floor, waiting for a rack, is my 14-inch Paragon benchtop. This thing fuses like a champ. I highly recommend Paragons. I like them, but some of them are picky as hell. So this is my Frit collection. And like all smart people, I did, of course, put the 5-pound Frit up top. And there's something like 16 of them. Because again, like I said, I'm a smart person. I am going to organize all the Frit into rainbow colors just because it's getting too difficult to keep them all sorted around. One thing I do want to do one day soon, and hopefully this summer I will get to it when I'm off with knee surgery, is hiding under this really cool pattern bar is I was going to make a flag pattern bar. I thought that would be really cool to work out. That's a grinder's mate next to it, grinder's helper. And then this is what I still have to organize. Pizza box over here from Portland Water Jet with I don't know what in it. High temp gloves for the Vitrograph kiln. Make your own Frit from a Frit pounder. Let's see what else. More plastic baggies. Sponges, or not sponges, sanders, sanding blocks. Rubbing alcohol, because you can never have too much. Kiln posts for the little kiln that is right down here. And piles and piles and piles of crap. But yeah, I have pretty good Frit supply. Oh, and the lovely sun catcher that was given to me in a sun catcher exchange last summer. And the moon my mother made me. One of the first pieces she put together. And then I do have a bullseye stringer tube rack, which I love, and it is full of all sorts of stuff. Next to it is where I house sizzle sticks and things like that because their tubes are too big. And there is my well-worn and 3 times dropped Bose speaker. Now coming to my workstation, it needs some work, but it's going to be the last thing cleared off. I am currently working with a jar of miscellaneous dots. That's the scale I use for measuring out copper oxide ore, and I am setting up to do some drilling tonight. That right there where I'm filming is where all of my videos happen. This was currently the class I was teaching at Soul Flags. Somebody did some shatter bowls, frequently referred to in the Fused Glass Fanatics group as light leaks. I just call them shatter bowls because you hit it with a glass hammer and it shatters. So we had several of those come through. And there was one more my cousin made, but Chaos Monster, I don't know where it is. Ah, I see it. I have it set out of the way so she can come get it. This one I think is my favorite. My cousin made it. And it's really cool. And then I have some other personal stuff that I've been fusing up. And other things that need squared around. Boxes of Marini. Rubber ducks. because every studio needs a rubber duck. Excuse me, I don't mean to cough in your ear. And kiln posts, all sorts of good things. A drinking glass full of shattered glass, because why not? And that seems to conclude my incredibly messy studio right now. And while it is half organized, see, it looks kind of nice this way. Then you get to this shit.
Hey, it's Steph, and I appreciate you watching my video. YouTube will recommend another one down below, so if you want to keep watching, just click on it.